Recently, I took you guys through my what's in the bag for 2024. Now we've crunched the numbers and this full setup would set you guys back £3,300. But it doesn't have to always be like that. Today, I've got a full set here and a bag at a cost of £400. So this is the McGregor ZT1 set. You get 12 clubs in here. Now I've not even looked at these yet, so we're gonna open this up and see what we've got in here. So first up, we'll take a look at the bag itself. Now, bearing in mind that you've paid £400 for the entire set and the bag as well, I'd say that's pretty good value for money. You can see quite clearly looking at it, it doesn't look like one of the bigger branded, more expensive, ultra premium bags that you see out there. It is a trolley or a cart bag, it hasn't got a stand to it, but overall, I'd say it's pretty good value for money. It's sort of that material that you would see on bags from maybe 20 years ago, but it's actually, strangely enough, the exact same colour scheme as my own bag. So for that, I quite like it. Let's take a look at some of the clubs here. So let's start with the driver. It's right there. The head covers, a little bit of a strange material to them. It's almost like a waterproof kind of material, but I like that it all matches with the bag, very coherent. The driver itself, again, colour scheme continues all over it on the shaft, which I really like. Also looks like it's a matte head, which I much prefer on drivers, so that's pretty good. Kind of looks like it's trying to copy Ping with that design on the top a little bit. It looks good. You can definitely tell that there isn't much technology in there. A lot of the big drivers we see that are boasting a lot of tech, you can really clearly see that on the base of that. Whereas this overall, I'd say, is pretty simple. A little bit of a design on the top. You've got your alignment aid there as well. So the driver was 10.5 degrees. I'm assuming the 3 wood here is going to be pretty similar. Oh no, it's actually quite different. You've got a lot of silver on the base of this one. This club does look a little dated on the base of it, I have to admit. The top of it looks almost exactly the same as the driver, obviously just a small amount. It looks like a very small head, so I'm feeling a little bit nervous about trying to hit that, but we'll see, we'll see. We've also got a couple hybrids in here, 21 degree, 24 degree. I think hybrids are great for beginners. Obviously this might be more of a beginner style set. And again, they just look like mini versions of the 3 wood. So a little bit dated, I would say, with this kind of design, but if you're paying £400 for a full set and a bag, you can't ask for too much really. So you get 9 to 5 iron, and then there's a pitching wedge and a sand wedge. Let's pull out this one. This is the 6 iron. I think the irons look a lot better than the wood and the hybrids look. See, that's kind of the back of them there. I think that looks quite cool. I quite like that. A little bit chunky, obviously, with them being a beginner set. The grooves are very kind of prominent because you've got these big sort of thicker black lines for the grooves across the face. So I'm not kind of sure how I feel about that at the minute, but I might change my mind when I'm stood at a dress and hitting the ball. There's a lot of nice detail in the design there, so I really like the look of these irons. I'm quite excited to test these out on the course. Like I said, wedges, you've got sand wedge and pitching wedge. They look exactly the same as the irons there. And then the putter is actually quite cool that you have a full set just for £400. All right, putter. Interesting, interesting. It's a strange material that that's actually made out of. That's gonna mark up really quickly because you can already see there's like a couple little marks there. I think that's even just from my nail scraping past it. It almost feels like rubber, but it's not. It's a strange material that doesn't really fit in with the rest of the set. Very bold red alignment patterns when you line up to the ball. I'm not sure how I'm gonna get on with that on the putting green, but we'll see. My normal color scheme is black, red and white, and this is exactly the same, so I'm liking that. Some interesting design choices with some of the colors. Not sure about the woods, but we'll take them out onto the course and we'll see how we get on. So we're here at the Fairmont St Andrews. We've come to the back 9 of the Kittux course, and I'm going to be seeing if I can break par using only this £400 set. First hole, looking down at the driver initially, there is some very bold detailing going on there. The grooves on the face are so bright and in your face. It's a little bit distracting, especially on the shaft as well. There's just a lot going on here. So I'm not fully convinced yet on the driver. Sounds very, very tinny, but it was a good shot, so we'll take it. Okay, we've got 65 yards. Drive actually ended up perfect here. And now we've got a choice between either a sand wedge or a pitching wedge. I think I'm gonna go with a half shot with a pitching wedge here. It doesn't feel like I have a pitching wedge in my hands right now. This is quite big, quite chunky. The grooves are also very pushed towards the toe end of the club, which is a bit strange. Oh, that comes off quick. Just rolled away, but we're all right. I think the theme with these clubs is this big coloured in-your-face detail. We've got these two big red panels on the side of the putter, which I think is meant to be acting as an alignment aid, but I'm finding it just a little bit off-putting. Oh, well that sounded awful and it felt awful and it was a very bad putt as well, so not much good to do there. Oh. So 1 over after the first hole. It's not the best start, but still plenty of holes to go. We've got an uphill par 5 here, so potentially a good opportunity to try and make a birdie here. That was like a little bullet, that one. I'll take it. Found the fairway from the tee, which I'm very happy with. I'm now going to go in with the 3-wood, which I'm feeling a little bit nervous about here because it really does not look the most confidence-inspiring club that I've ever seen. When you put it down at the ball, the face looks almost perfectly flat because of the material and the colour of the face. So I'm feeling a bit nervous. We'll see how we get on. That was significantly nicer than I thought it was going to be. Potentially struggling for distance a little bit because that almost didn't clear the bunker, but the strike, a lot better than I was expecting. So we've actually come down a lot further than I was expecting. I was a little bit worried about the bunker when it was in the air, but I think it flew a lot further than it looked. So we're all good here. We've got 75 yards to the pin. I'm basically just going to try and hit the same shot that I hit on the last hole, get this one in close and give myself a chance for birdie. Oh, that was thin. Now that one checked up a little bit. Pitching wedge doesn't seem to be checking up at all. This putter actually looks like a spaceship. This is an experience playing with this. Oh, not quite. This is definitely one of the shots where I feel like you really need a specialised wedge. I would love to have my lob wedge in my hand right now, but I don't. I've got the sand wedge and we're just going to see what we can do here. Oh, it was like a foot from being good. Go. Ding. Par, finally. Got 170 yards here. I'm going to go in with the 24-degree hybrid. This is potentially the smallest hybrid head I've ever used. So we'll see how this goes. Ooh, that didn't feel nice at all. That's not my favourite club. Go. No. At least it didn't plug. Oh. All right, 133 yards here. I've got 8 iron. Just going to show you guys the irons in a little bit more detail here. So obviously when we first unboxed them, I was saying I really like the detail and the back pattern of the club. The only thing is, when you put them down at address, something I find very off-putting is the grooves on them. We've got black grooves across the face, which is just different to what I'm used to and isn't really quite my taste. They're also a little bit chunky, especially as you go down to the shorter irons. I think you really notice it there. But to be fair, I think that's probably what you would want for the people that are most likely to be buying this set. The sound is much better on the irons than it is the woods. The woods and the putter are very tinny. These are actually quite nice, quite soft as well on the face, which I wasn't expecting. But yeah, quite nice, the irons. Aww. That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Oh. Okay, so it's a par on the last hole to finish 5 over through 9. So not the best performance, but let's go ahead and get into the verdict. So starting off with a few of the highlights about this set. First of all, I think it's really cool that you can get an entire complete golf set and bag for the price. Obviously that is a huge plus point. And really impressively, I did find quite a bit of forgiveness in the clubs. The driver I found really easy to hit, and I thought the irons had a lot of forgiveness there too. I'm not completely sold on the hybrids, but the 3-wood, despite looking very scary to hit, it was actually quite forgiving and quite nice to hit. The main drawbacks in this set for me, first of all, I just could not get along with the putter. The sound it makes is very interesting, very tingy, and the feel isn't great, and I also found it quite hard just to get some speed control going with it. The alignment aids also aren't great on it. You've got these 2 red panels but nothing in the center, and personally I'm just used to having an alignment aid in the center, so that really didn't work too well for me. And I also found it difficult with the pitching wedge and the sand wedge. They were both very different in terms of how they looked at address and how the ball reacted, but I just couldn't seem to get that much control with them. And as we saw, there were a few shots where I just really wanted to have my normal wedges there, because you just can't pull those kind of shots off with these types of clubs. Overall, I would say if you're looking to get a full set, I do think this is really impressive for that price point. I think if you were to invest in this, the next thing that you would want to look at potentially is upgrading the putter and a couple of those wedges. And I think if you did that, you would have a really good set of golf clubs on hand. I think it's great for a beginner. Obviously, there's those few little tweaks I would make there, but overall, I think it's really impressive what they've put together for just £400. So I really enjoyed testing out this package set here in St Andrews, and I think it could be the perfect option for beginner golfers on a budget. Now, we want this package set to go to good use, so we're giving you guys a chance to win the entire package set and the golf bag that I've tested out in this video. To enter, all you need to do is like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel and comment down below "entered" for a chance to win.